My name is Marissa Platts, and I am proposing a process improvement for Lean Sandwich Shop. Right now, Lean Sandwich Shop is experiencing a problem with their quality and accuracy of the orders. 10% of the sandwiches are requiring to be remade, which is costing the company around $120,000 per year. We want to improve this process because continuing to have this profit loss is going to be a negative impact on the business. Having to remake sandwiches consistently, 1 in every 10 people, causes brand image loss and ultimately will likely lead to potential store closure. The current situation that we are looking at can be reviewed with our risk assessment, work balance table, and work combination table, and these will lead us to the root cause of the problem that we have. So within the risk assessment, the most important part is to review the high priority items, which are outlined in red below. Incorrect vegetable and toppings applied, ingredients do not meet quality standards, and poor employee hygiene. So all of these have different countermeasures available. Some are noted here, but there are others that can be considered as well. And the risk assessment is something that we need to take into consideration while we're looking for a root cause and looking for the process improvement. When we look at the work balance table, we have a tack time of 60 seconds. So overall, we don't want to go above this time in our process cycle time. But as you can see, we have a bottleneck at the 90-second task 3 mark. This is really holding up our process of making the sandwich, and also with the process time of 600 seconds, we have an ideal number of employees at this point of 10. And as we'll see later, we can decrease that ideal number of employees, which will in turn decrease our process time. So when we look at the root cause, it really comes down to what we're seeing on this work combination table. That brown wasted time during the toasting the sandwich phase is really hindering our overall processing time. So if we could drop that 145 seconds of employees just standing there and waiting for the toaster, or periodically going and trying to help other areas, which is really inefficient. If we can drop that 145 seconds, we will bring our total processing time down significantly in the overall current 600 processing time. So when we're looking at the correction of the problem, things that we're going to want to do is review a reduction in tasks and how many employees are doing those tasks. Look at the new form processing form order to delivery, so a new work cell and a new work balance table that will keep our tack time in the keep our processing time in the 60-second and under tack time for each process, for each task. So looking at the reduction in tasks, we're going to be going from a total of 7 tasks down to a total of four tasks, as you can see in the tables below, and providing 2 employees per task to properly allocate the time. This is going to heavily improve how our work cell works and how we get the sandwiches through the delivery line to give them to the customers. And as stated in the previous slide, there is going to be a reduction in employees, which, as we can see, goes from 10 employees to 8 employees. So when we review a new process and a new work cell, we're going to move into this U-shaped format where step 1 will be at the first portion, and then it'll go to step 2. Step 2 is kind of like 2 tasks in one, so it'll go 2A to 2B, and then continue around the circle until 4C, where we deliver to the customer. And our supermarket is at the top for delivering the product. When we review the new work balance table, as you can see, we can keep everything under 60 seconds. Everything is a lot more evenly spread out between employees. We don't have that high 90-second range where we're getting a bottleneck. And our process time is brought down to 455 seconds with the same tack time of 60 seconds, which gives us an ideal number of employees of 7.6 or 8, as we see in our new processes. This is going to significantly improve how we provide sandwiches to our customers and a significantly more efficient process in general, which ideally will then reduce the number of sandwiches that customers are turning back to us. There's other things that we can do to help that as well, especially when the problem is that they have the wrong toppings on, changing the names of the toppings with like mustard and mayo so that we don't mix those two up, typing them out fully, having a system that you can select the toppings and it doesn't abbreviate will definitely improve that as well. But when we look at the old work balance table, you can see that we had that high 90-second process cycle time for task 3, whereas now that task is doubled up, and our 2 and 3 are a lot more closely related with 2 employees assigned to each. When we're looking at sustaining and measuring this new process, we're going to use some different tables, such as the control chart shown here, the gamma board, standardized work chart, job breakdown sheet, versatility matrix, and 555 audits. All of these are not filled out yet because we haven't started and we don't really know what our limits will be. But as you can see, these are the different things that we'll use to measure how our employees are doing. Looking at the validation model, we find an expected savings of $218,400 annually on the labor portion of this. So this comes from the delta in hours that we're spending on site, which is our 364 days a year times 10 hours a day of 10 employees versus the new 8 employees. So with 8 employees, we have a delta in hours of 14,560. Multiply that by our labor cost per hour of $15, and that's where we get our $218,000 savings. We also have a expected savings from the scrap portion, which comes from our pre-change scrap units of 21,840 down to a 4,368. If we have a total cost per unit of 2.8, our expected annual savings on this front is $48,922. So overall, we're gaining over $260,000, which is great for the company compared to the loss of 120. How we need to execute this, we need to communicate with employees and stakeholders. Preparing employees for this change is going to be important because it's going to be very different from how they're currently working, and a lot more process-based, and expectations will be set to make sure that they're meeting these processing times. With this change, communication will provide training and new process layout, and discuss the different charting methods with the employees so that they're fully aware of how we expect this process to go. Then we will need to update the physical store layout to allow for the new process, because currently it's not set up for that U-shaped work cell. And then we will begin the new process and layout, which will then lead to tracking our TPH on the gamma board and providing the 555 audits regularly. Finally, and this is going to be an ongoing thing, is we're going to review the process to determine if there's any other opportunities to improve. Overall, I think that this is a great decision for the Lean Sandwich Shop to go, and I look forward to helping implement it